but you really get dialed into the humanity side of how it's not just that patient that dies. A small portion of our community dies.
What's going on, world? It's your favorite podcast, built by the Red Stick. Your boy, Ronnie LeDuff, Michael Oakley, your favorite duo since Jordan and Kerr are back in the booth, and we got a special one for you. Before we get started, a moment from our sponsors.
And this episode is brought to you by Rayville Recovery Treatment Center. Rayville is about an 80-plus bed facility in North Louisiana, just about 3 hours north of Baton Rouge. It's the #1 co-occurrence residential treatment facility in the state of Louisiana. If you're struggling with mental health, if you're struggling with alcohol or drug abuse, give my people at Rayville Recovery a call. The number is 318-728-5488, and tell them I sent you. And I know you probably like, well, I want to get help, but that's 3 hours away. Don't trip. They got you. They will come pick you up. They will transport you all over from the state of Louisiana. I'm talking all four corners, even the central. They coming to get you. Admission is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All you got to do is call that number, 318-728-5488. And then you probably like, well, I want to get some help, but I don't have insurance. Don't trip. They got you. They even take uninsured people for help. No man or woman left behind. Call my beautiful people at Rayville Recovery today. Again, that number is 318-728-5488. Rayville Recovery. Recovery redefined. The journey starts with you.
And just like that, we are back.
Boom.
We're back. Listen,
Back in the
listen.
booth.
We saw that the last episode didn't do too well.
Too well?
It didn't do too well, but that's okay.
an
It's okay.
understatement.
It's okay. We released it on Facebook. We released it in the episode. We have launched the Hope and Hustle Fest. Y'all reach out. It's going to be March 28th of 2026. It's going to be some big things that me and my guy are doing. You can meet the host of your favorite podcast. But before Ronnie gets too hyped and everything, got to ask y'all a couple of favors. Go ahead and subscribe to YouTube.
Please.
Follow TikTok.
Please.
Like any and every post you see.
Please.
Share every and any post you see.
Please.
And go ahead and write a little comment.
Write a little comment. And when they're doing all this stuff, it's allowing us to bring the Hope and Hustle Fest
Absolutely.
of 2026 completely Free. For those like me that didn't pay attention in school, that's spelled free.
Free. If it ain't
Your
free,
support,
it ain't for me.
Your likes, your shares, your subscribe, your views, it allow us to bring it to you. We love y'all still, though.
We do.
Love it.
We
It did
do.
hurt my feelings, but we good.
It's
We
okay.
good. It's a new week.
It's okay. New week and new episode.
New episode.
And we've got
a new
a
person.
new guest,
New to them, old to us.
and y'all are not ready.
I don't
The
think they're
knowledge,
ready. I don't think they're ready.
the insight.
I don't even-
Actually, I can't even do it justice. So I'm going to leave it up, like always, to the best hype man in this damn country, Mr. Ronnie LeDuff.
I don't know if I'm going to do it some justice, but I'm going to try. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, sick patients and cured people, we have a real certified stepper in the building. And I'm serious. He's certified in emergency medicine. You know
Yep.
what I mean? He's a certified addictionologist now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? From Pier Part, Louisiana. Some people know his name, never seen his face. Some people seen his face, don't know his name. Now you get both. We got
Both.
Dr. MD, your favorite doctor's favorite doctor, Dave Daigle, in the Built by the Red Stick building.
Welcome, Doc.
Thank you, guys.
We're
Thank you.
super-
Thank you very much.
Super pumped to have you.
Also my PCP too, y'all. He the reason why your boy, you
You
see,
looking good.
You see me.
You looking
Hey,
good.
You better tell him, Doc.
Got it.
Huh?
Got his blood pressure under
That
control.
Blood pressure's under control.
Hey,
I don't
you
know
know
about right now, though.
Nah, I ain't got no headache. Nah, this natural. This natural. No headache, you know what I'm saying?
Oh man. So Doc, we're super blessed to have you in. First, before we start, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, how you found your way into medicine and everything, where you come from.
Yeah, so I'm like they said, I'm from a small town south of here, about 50 miles, Pierreport,
Down the bayou.
down the bayou.
Yes, Lord.
They got smart people out there,
No,
obviously.
smart person.
They got a few.
I don't know, cause listen, I met his wife when me and you went over. He wasn't there. I got to meet his wife, and she was bragging on his small town and his friend group. I think like 4 of them became doctors.
That's the only people out of Pierreport.
Don't do that.
It's probably 2 or 3.
The only people.
No, man, my people are good. They're hardworking. My dad always instilled, if you want something in life, you got to go after it.
Absolutely.
So it was just a mentality that, it was always that hustle mentality. If you want it, go get it. He worked 2 or 3 jobs, but at the end of the day, small town community, and it resonates with addiction there because there's nothing to do. People get caught up in it, and I grew up in a small family. We drink, and a lot of people are doing drugs now, which is really, really, really sad. But what got me into medicine was just the love of learning and knowledge and building on that base of just trying to be the best person you can be, continue to provide care for others, be a community servant.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I went into nursing school first, worked as a nurse at Charity Hospital back in 1999 to 2001.
Sheesh.
Got to see a lot of bad trauma at the old Charity Hospital. Now they've torn it down since, but
I can imagine.
it's very sad to see that. But I have lots of great memories, and then that just propelled me into my current career as an ER physician. I worked in the ER there, worked my way up as a tech nurse, was in pre-med stuff while there, and then went to medical school, became board certified in emergency medicine. I've been doing that, worked all over the state of Louisiana doing emergency medicine. It's been very fulfilling. Worked at large trauma centers everywhere from Bogalusa to West Calcasieu Parish, Lafayette General, Baton Rouge General, Ochsner here in Baton Rouge. Yeah, currently in Alexandria.
Cabrini, shout out Cabrini.
Cabrini. And
I don't know the Cabrini.
It's a hospital. You finna find out.
yeah, Cabrini is in Alexandria. I've been in Alec for about 15 years doing emergency medicine, but most recently, about 4.5 years ago, it's a famous story that I was at Ochsner, and you see death there, damn near every week, and for you to really experience death and understand, you're not just dealing with that initial trauma. You're dealing with the kids of that parent. You're dealing with the mother and father of that patient. Grandparents all come in, and you no longer look at that patient that died of an overdose as a patient that you're in work mode, but you really get dialed into the humanity side of how it's not just that patient that dies. A small portion of our community dies because this was a parent, this was a loved one, this was a person that was just caught up in stuff that ultimately led to their demise. But it propelled me to get interested in addiction because you take somebody like us that's young, a chance of mortality is virtually zero.
Yep.
That's why you can go out as a 31-year-old and literally get $1 million policy for about $50 a month because you have no risk factors. You have no comorbidities. You have no chance of death. So people are willing to bet on you from a life insurance policy. It's just statistical data. You throw opiates in the mix, your chance of death in 5 years is equivalent to pancreatic cancer. It's bad. So there's a famous case. I kept talking to my business partner, Todd Boger, that I work with now. But Todd and I
Shout out Todd.
weekly we would talk about, all the death we're seeing, and I kept telling him about this business idea of opening our own clinic. Todd was like, nah. I'm not doing it. I'm happy. I'm doing my thing. And one day this young girl died, and I came in basically in tears because I had just witnessed the whole trauma behind seeing the family and her kids there. And I said, Todd, we have to do this. And we had an epiphany right then and there. I said, I want to name it Matt's Clinic for medication-assisted treatment. And Todd got goose pimples. He's like, bro, that was my brother, Matthew, and he died of an opiate overdose. So we named our business Matt's Clinic.
And then it happened to be
as a tribute to his brother, Matthew. And Todd always says to this day, if I would know what I know now, I think my brother would still be alive. So it really set forth our business model of how we care and we love our patients, and how we try to treat every individual. Each individual is very special. Yeah.
We've had so many just wide range of guests, from psychiatrists to people who suffered with addiction, people who have family members who suffer with addiction, family members who have lost people in addiction. And so it's always pretty cool to get the medical side, because sometimes, I like to be real on this. Sometimes doctors get a bad rap in the addiction treatment.
Yeah.
And I've had the pleasure of knowing you and working with Ronnie, who works with you, to know that y'all do it different, right? Like, it's not a pill mill. It's not there's a genuine care and concern about the patient healing and no longer needing your services. Yep. And that's a beautiful thing. So how did that mindset come about? Because not everybody feels that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm being real.
Yeah, I think Louisiana. I don't want to bash on our state, but what are we, 48th?
We're last in everything you want to be first in, and first in everything you want to be last.
44th in education now.
44th. Okay, cool.
It moved up.
All right.
Yeah, man,
we straight now. But look, I mean, I think we're a little bit behind the times. I think that, if you look at what is the gold standard for, you look at any kind of diagnostic testing, what is the gold standard for diagnosing an appendicitis? The gold standard is oral and IV contrast CT scan, right? The gold standard for this chronic brain disease called opiate addiction is buprenorphine.
Yeah.
And there's a different mindset here in the state of Louisiana, and it's okay. It's part of the task, and it's part of what motivates me. It's part of, because if it was so readily available and known, I wouldn't have a purpose. My purpose is to educate, promote, and really just save lives. So, when someone is so addicted that they're willing to lose their house, their kids, their job, everything, that's not willpower, man. That has nothing to do with willpower.
I was there.
No.
I was there.
It's pure agony for someone coming off of drugs, and they're so addicted to opiates that they don't know anything else. It's like breathing. Right. If I have a spouse sitting next to someone that's using, let's pretend you guys are a couple.
We ain't gotta pretend, Doc.
So Ronnie, you use opiates, right?
Yo,
all right.
Yeah.
Your boy doesn't realize what it's like. So I tell him in my office, Mike, I want you to hold your breath for 5 minutes. After about 3 minutes of gasping, they realize if they don't breathe, they're going to die.
Absolutely.
They get that anxiety to the point. And that's the analogy I use. That's what a user experiences Because it's ingrained in our brainstem. It's not in the frontal lobe where you're thinking about or cognitively trying to rationalize with yourself. This is like breathing. It's in your heart rate and your respiratory rate. This is all driven from the midbrain portion, the brainstem, which is highly concentrated with the receptors of when you get addicted. Majority of your mu receptors that you become so addicted is in the brainstem.
Absolutely.
Why is that important? That's important because when you overdose, what happens? What kills you? You stop breathing. It's because those mu receptors are so highly concentrated in that area. So with opiate addiction, buprenorphine is the active ingredient in all these medications.
Right.
It's like having Motrin and ibuprofen equate. They're all ibuprofen manufactured a different way. Buprenorphine, without, you don't mind if I go into a little bit mechanism of action? I think it's
absolutely.
I think it's very important.
I was just giving a class on this at one of the colleges I talked to, but you do the buprenorphine better than me. So
No, I think it's important that,
And I'll go into why. I have to explain it.
Yeah.
Therefore, for you to fully understand why I'm such a believer in the drug. Okay? So buprenorphine is what we call a partial agonist. And you ask, what is an agonist? An agonist is something that when it affects a receptor in a positive manner, a full opiate agonist such as heroin, fentanyl, hydrocodone, all these full opiate agonists, when it turns on that mu receptor, it turns it on 100%.
Absolutely.
You're supplying 120 volts to that 60-watt bulb, and you can't get that bulb any brighter. So that opiate agonist turns that receptor on, and it gives the person all the other effects. It gives them the euphoric effect, the analgesic effect for pain control. And one of the biggest things it does, it causes withdrawal and it causes tolerance. So 10 milligrams of a Percocet today may be 100 milligrams of Percocet in a year because of that tolerance. So what's tolerance? Tolerance is needing more and more of the same drug to achieve the same effect.
Which is where your Percocet becomes Oxy.
Your Oxy, and then your
become heroin and
then
fentanyl.
fentanyl.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
So now, you've got, that's a full opiate agonist. Buprenorphine is a partial agonist. So instead of that light bulb going fully bright, it's like having a dimmer switch on it. When buprenorphine attaches to that mu receptor, it barely turns it on. It puts it a little glow. And the most important thing I want the audience to take away today is it does not build tolerance. It decreases cravings. It decreases pain. It doesn't make you feel euphoric. It doesn't make you feel high. It's protective because it has a higher affinity for that mu receptor. That's why it precipitates withdrawal, because when you use buprenorphine and you have opiates already attached to that mu receptor, it bumps those off because it says, "Hey, I'm the big boy. I'm attaching." So how does that impact people? Well, it protects them because if they use and they're on buprenorphine, they won't overdose.
Right.
It decreases mortality 50 to 60%.
So what about the people that's on mat or buprenorphine or whatever form of it, and they know or they think they can use more to break through that? Like, how do we prevent that? Because you have some people that's like own it and then trying to overuse.
You can't override it if you're at a therapeutic dose, which is at.
We do not condone that, by the way, at all, 100%.
No, look, it pharmacologically you can't override it. About 15% of the mu receptors are not fully saturated.
Right.
So let's say you have 100, for all intensive purposes, it's millions of neurons in receptors. More than that. I mean, you're at any rate. So about a 15% is not fully saturated. So let's say you come in, you're on buprenorphine, you break your leg, you're in an emergency situation. I can give you enough medication to override that, to give you some analgesic effect with fentanyl. If I have to give you pain medication. in a controlled setting.
Right.
The stuff you're buying off the street, you don't know what it is. So you may, but it's very difficult. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult to overdose if you're within a therapeutic range. If you're on Suboxone, which is a long-acting injectable buprenorphine, or if you're taking Suboxone, or if you're on Brixadi or Subzolve or any of these formularies of buprenorphine, it is really, really protective.
Well, and I think that's the important aspect to kind of highlight that Matt's clinic talks about and promotes, that while the buprenorphine in any form is a amazing tool to sobriety, it's not the end all be all.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. It's not. It in conjunction. So if you take somebody that goes into, if they check themselves in and they detox, or they detox at home, their likelihood, because they're no longer tolerant, they have no tolerance now.
Right.
Now if they use, their likelihood of overdose and death is exponential.
Yep.
I talked about that, especially with fentanyl and everything. I talked about that when I spoke last week. Is that there is I remember, and I'm not glorifying it, but relapse was different when I was using, right? The becoming sober and then relapsing, there was still that chance of overdose, but it wasn't. And I don't know all the statistics, but I don't feel like it was as high of a risk, because the drugs weren't as powerful. They weren't as chopped up with the fentanyl and the all that different stuff. Pressed pills weren't really a thing and everything. But I was talking about, like, it's people literally get sober for a week, 2 weeks, a month. That tolerance is gone. They go back to doing exactly what they were doing before, and they use one time and they're gone.
Yep.
That's it. I mean, you look at all these different programs where they go into detox, and in part of it is the mentality. Look, and I don't want to be naive. I mean, up until about 4 years ago, I didn't know the importance of this medication.
Right.
As an ER physician, I can tell you 75% of ER doctors now don't fully understand the mechanism of action, the true importance of why buprenorphine should be given. And, there's a negative connotation with the drug that you're trading one for the other, and it's so far from the truth. It's unbelievable. It's under guidance of your doctor and being put on this medication, you can formulate a treatment plan that you slowly titrate this medication down over a long period of time, while they're building other tools, putting other tools in their toolbox: relapse prevention, other coping skills, different getting counseling, getting into therapy, getting a sponsor, having people that will give you additional tools to recognize what are your triggers, what prevents you from relapsing, and over an extended period of time, you can slowly bring somebody off of buprenorphine.
Absolutely.
And in that way, they have the additional tools that they can rationalize and say, hey, that life no longer serves me.
And also at this point, they've started to build a life that no longer, because I know a lot of people, when, not using, would take medically assisted treatment out the picture, right? A lot of people go to treatment, they come out of treatment 30 days, and they're not receiving any further treatments or anything. And life is still lifing, and they're not as far removed from that terrible life to where drugs and alcohol still sound like a good idea. Yep. Versus, Ronnie talks about it all the time. He used medically assisted treatment for a 6 month period.
Yep.
And by the time he was titrated off of it, life had goals and aspirations, and drugs and alcohol weren't, like you talked about, that it wasn't that breathing to survive mentality anymore.
So like me and Doc talk about all the time, what Matt's did for me, and I don't care who like it, it's my story, right? I've been to over 24 detox centers. 6 inpatient facilities, right? I was a chronic relapser, so I was one that they would say was a great candidate for the treatment. And so what Matt did for me is it allowed me to focus on the other tools without having that urge and that craving in the back of my mind. So just go get one, go get one. I can hear what my sponsor's saying. I can listen to you in education and grasp the idea, or, you know, be open to different ideas and suggestions, because for me, all I needed was a split second to be redirected. And that's what the safety net, not the crutch, but the safety net of doing Vivitrol did. It gave me that split
It's like
second.
wearing a seatbelt.
Yeah.
You mean you're in a car.
Yeah.
You get in a wreck.
Yeah.
You've got safety mechanisms.
Yep.
That's how I think of this drug.
But that's what I love about Matt's, though, because like you say, it's not the end all be all.
No,
Doc,
absolutely
you're not finna go see Dr. Daigle and be like, this all I want. No, are you doing therapy? Are you seeing a therapist? Are you in IOP? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? So I love that.
Which I think is you made a great point, and I felt up until, I don't know, probably 5 years ago, I fell into the class that you were talking about, where it was uneducated and prejudice. I'll use the word prejudice against MAT treatment. It was a look down upon, which is why I think it's great that A, you're on here, and B, just the things you do in general with Matt's Clinic about bringing awareness to what this drug does. And like you said, it's not a trade-off. You're not a and doctors aren't legal drug dealers or anything. You know, their job is to save patients' lives and to save human lives, not just patients. Because I believe, and I'll speak for you, that they're not just patients to you.
This episode is brought to you by Matt's Clinic. Matt's Clinic is an addiction medicine clinic located right here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. They offer outpatient services like medication-assisted treatment for people with opioid or alcohol use disorder. They also help with nicotine cessation, testosterone replacement therapy, and other sorts of treatment related to addiction. Most importantly, they take care of their patients. They're out here earning 5-star Google reviews left and right due to delivering respect, thorough treatment, and results for their patients. They are a private pay office with the fee of $150 for the visit. This typically provides 1 month's worth of care for a patient. Patients come in for an appointment, and some telehealth appointments are also available. They're led by Dr. Dave Daigle, board certified in addiction medicine after already being boarded in emergency medicine. Todd Bozier and Benji Arbonneau are the other 2 providers, and all 3 of these guys get what it takes to figure out a plan with their patients for optimal outcomes. Their priorities are to prevent overdose, reduce cravings, and restore functionality to help people achieve long-term recovery, which literally means patients don't need their services anymore. Working their way out of a job would be a beautiful problem to have for these guys, and we're rooting for them to continue the work being done to get us there one day. You can find these guys at mattsclinic.com, Matt's Clinic on Instagram and Facebook, or give them a call at 225-468-6287 and talk with my girl Zoe at the front desk. Tell her your guys at Built by the Red Stick sent you. Again, you can find these guys at mattsclinic.com, Matt's Clinic on Instagram and Facebook, or give them a call at 225-468-6287. Do not forget to talk to our girl Zoe at the front desk.
One of the main things, and I didn't mention this, is tolerance. So, tolerance with full opiate agonists that we talked about, you don't develop that tolerance to buprenorphine. I could put you on 8 to 16 milligrams, 24 milligrams, and keep you on that 10 years if I have to. And you won't develop tolerance to it. So you don't need more and more and more and more. I can maintain you on that same therapeutic dose for years. So you're not trading one drug for the other.
Right.
It's protective, decreases mortality, decreases cravings. It's a phenomenal method to help facilitate change and recovery and just, abstinence instead of doing it. And I think as a whole, our society today, we want a quick fix.
Yeah.
Doc, you got to fix me quick. I got to go back to work. Like, a lot of people, in theory, don't want to do therapy. You look at alcohol. We treat alcohol. You got 64 million people with an alcohol use disorder that by DSM-5 criteria, about 64 million people. What prevents them from coming and seeking treatment? One, they don't realize they have a problem. Two, they don't want to miss work. They don't want to interrupt their life. We can impact that, especially with opiates. Look, I can do what's called microdosing. You know what microdosing is?
Yeah.
Microdosing is someone using fentanyl. I start them off on buprenorphine, giving them just a small little bitty smidgen, about 0.5 milligrams of buprenorphine. And you double that dose every day. So by day 7, they're continuing to use fentanyl. By day 7, they stop the fentanyl. They have no withdrawal. That's a perfect candidate that you don't have the precipitated withdrawal by starting buprenorphine.
Yeah.
You don't have,
which is a mother lover.
You don't have to. You don't. And look, I'm an advocate for checking yourself into therapy, but some people just refuse to do it.
Yeah.
So there are other things we need to advocate for that will help them. People that have been on methadone, I can titrate somebody off of methadone and get them on buprenorphine. Same method. Get down to about 30 milligrams of methadone and slowly over 7 to 10 days. Titrate them over to buprenorphine without precipitating withdrawal.
So I'll ask this question, if you don't mind, as an antagonist.
Yeah.
You know, because you kind of brought it up, the titration from methadone. And so I think a lot of people who have seen the negative effects of methadone.
Methadone is a full opiate agonist.
Right. And so that's what I was going to ask is, you know, how, as a doctor who is, you know, educated with the actual stats and the actual mechanisms of the way it works, kind of explain the difference between methadone, which was sold as this, you know, cure for opiates, where people, you know, kind of, you know, it really wasn't. I mean, I know a lot of people who and I've seen people detox off of methadone, and it's not a fun thing.
Yeah.
And I know that detoxing off of, you know, different buprenorphine things and that titrate, like you said, coming off of it to full abstinence is a lot easier than.
Yeah. So, you know, with these different types of drugs, and you look at something like heroin, fentanyl, you look at, you know, MS Contin, you look at all how they're historically full opiate agonists, like these drugs, have a very short half-life.
Right.
So when you shoot heroin or you shoot fentanyl, you may start the withdrawal phase within several hours of use.
Happens so many times to me.
So you're having to continue to use like
so many times,
multiple times to get
to a baseline.
And eventually, you know, like people don't even once they're full blown chronic use, you're no longer using to feel high. You're using to feel normal.
Exactly.
You're trying to feel normal.
Yep.
And there's a famous analogy. I want to tell you this real quick. So I usually draw a graph of, you know, intensity of the high by dopamine release over time. So I draw, you know, a Y and an X axis, and then I will demonstrate how, and depending on who it is, a guy, you know, you eat a nice steak, brings you up to about 200 dopamine level, and then it comes down. Have sex,
700.
700.
Yeah, the right kind of sex, and you're only going to fit. Shout out, wife.
Jesus.
Go ahead, Doc.
But you know, heroin, 400. And over time, you continue going up. You're hitting 400, then you're going down to 300. Over a year's time, you're no longer, you're at zero. You're functioning below baseline. And then they say, you know, you're trying to use to feel normal. Zero dopamine release is how, well, I don't know about Ronnie right now. He's probably got a dopamine of about 175. But
you said sex.
You know, when you're chilling,
right now, I'm ready.
you had zero dopamine.
Yeah.
Right.
So people are trying to get to the 0 point, much less trying to get high.
Absolutely.
So it's what buprenorphine does. It immediately gets you back into that category of feeling normal. Like you're not what we call
function.
anhedonia. Anhedonia is the inability to be able to feel anything. So you have no feeling. You're like numb. So when you're functioning below that constant withdrawal phase, it's hard for people to function. So it's just so important. I can't even express it enough, man. Some people can do it without. Some people, and you just need to risk stratify. If you're Ronnie's case, you've relapsed X amount of times. You've been to X amount of rehabs. Look, it's so important to be able to formulate a plan that it protects you.
Yeah.
I forgot what was the main topic.
That's why I was going to ask that question, because I wanted to know this. That was a good question.
Kind of like the naysayer will say, well, they said what you're saying about buprenorphine, about methadone before.
Yeah.
And I don't.
So methadone is a full opiate agonist. Once you get it to its therapeutic range, which I don't prescribe methadone. There's a lot of legal regulations. I'm not a huge advocate for it.
Right.
I think there's a lot of misuse for it. The biggest thing, like I was saying, I'm back on point. So when you're using these drugs, they're short acting. So you get these peaks, and it comes back to baseline really, really, really quick. Methadone is a very long acting full opiate agonist. So it lasts 48 hours.
Right.
So the abuse potential is a lot less likely because you don't have those rapid highs and lows that requires you to continue to repeat dosing every 4 to 5 hours. So that's one thing why the drug is important, because it's long acting. It's a long acting opiate. And once you get to about 80 to 120 milligrams, most people don't have any euphoria.
Right.
And it's protective because it has a higher affinity for that mu receptor. So if you do relapse, if you're within therapeutic range, you're less likely to overdose. So it helps with recovery and it decreases mortality. But I'm not a huge advocate for it. There's a certain subset of the population I think is important. They need that structure. They need to be at that clinic every day. They need that guidance. Here's your meds. Here's your meds. And some of those people within that spectrum need additional eyes and ears on them in their recovery.
Right.
So is methadone something that they'll end up on more long term than the buprenorphine?
I think so.
Without ruffling any feathers.
Yeah, I think so. And look, it's one of those things where I always ask, one of the first questions, how long do you think you're going to be on? If you come to my clinic and you tell me, I've relapsed 20 times and I've been to X amount of treatments and I've almost died, and I honestly, at the time when we're talking, I don't know how much work you're willing to put in.
Right.
If you're actively engaged in your addiction, and you're working towards bettering yourself, and you're building the tools, I tell everybody, I'm giving you the tools to be a carpenter, but all I'm giving you is a hammer. That's all buprenorphine is.
Yeah.
You got to get the level. You got to get the skill saw. Get the chop saw. You got to have, you got to build all these other tools. And if all you're doing is going around hitting everything with your hammer, you ain't no carpenter.
Yeah, you're not gonna build it.
Yeah.
Just the demolitions.
Yeah. So like you have to do your part, and a lot of people don't do their part, unfortunately.
And so, again, I ain't trying to ruffle no feathers. Would
I like to ruffle feathers.
Yeah,
I know you do. That's why I don't want to get them started. Okay, so like you say, the buprenorphine is the hammer. There's a lot of time. Does the methadone act as a full toolbox, or try to at least?
No. It's one tool.
Okay.
Methadone's only one tool.
Okay.
Methadone's only one tool. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
So, kind of transitioning into what you're doing now. One of my favorite questions to ask people, especially, someone like you, right? Like you don't have to do what you're doing. You don't have to do what you're doing.
No.
You could have probably enjoyed a nice cush life, working in the ER, dealing with the things that you had to do, yet you took a risk. You opened your own business. You're treating what I believe to be an underserved population. I think it's getting better. I think the mental health aspect and the mental health awareness and the opioid awareness and all of these things, I think they're getting better. I think we still have a long way to go. But why?
And to add to that, before you ask him his why, he's not just treating people with his time. And if I get in trouble saying this, I'm sorry, but people need to know, I work for him. He's treating people out of his pockets as well, right? And so you hear people talking about, oh, they in it for the money. That's not the case with Dr. Daigle and the staff at Matt's clinic.
No, and that's kind of where the question comes, is because, unfortunately, the substance abuse population isn't always the most desirable population to work with.
Yeah.
Look, as a clinician, you put thousands and thousands and thousands of hours into a craft that you want to impact people's lives. I mean, bottom line is, God has given me a gift to be able to sit across from a person that is extremely vulnerable and open up a dialogue with them that they may not open up with anybody else. So I consider that one of the most cherished gifts that I have, to be able to help individuals. Somebody with opiate addiction or addiction in general, like I said, you take a young person that has no risk of mortality and you throw that in the mix. There's such an opportunity to help these individuals, to radically transform their life.
Absolutely.
And to be able to build on that and see them 2-3 years from now, they've got their own company where they're thriving, they're married, they have kids, they spiritually are just, they're dialed in. And you've got some lost individuals that are and I'll tell you, I meet a lot of angry individuals, not in addiction, but in the emergency room. And I can, if you had a Bible here, I'd put my hand on a Bible. Some of the most kind-hearted people I know are people suffering with addiction. They'll give you their last dollar. They will literally, they're some of the kindest people. It's just, it's unbelievable how phenomenal this subset of the population that has been forgotten.
Yeah. And you brought it up, so I'll ask the question. You brought up the spiritual component. And so, like, where do you fall on that lineage, that aspect of
every opportunity I'll praise. I'll pray. I'll pray with a patient if that's what they want. Like spirituality for me and loving God and really putting it into my daily life it's so important.
At risk of being canceled.
Right.
I just got back from a trip, and so I heard the news that happened in America while I was overseas.
Yeah.
And I was, no matter where you fall on the line of whatever it is, and we won't get into it. But I watched the full ceremony of Charlie Kirk Sunday.
Right.
I watched the full ceremony, and the lanyap and all that I could care less about, but one of the most profound things that I've seen happen, and me and Ronnie always talk about it, is the reintroduction of spiritual practices into a world that I feel has pushed out spirituality.
We're on a revival right now, brother.
Yeah.
And look, man, I think the basic premise, I knew a little bit about Charlie Kirk prior to this, but I think that any person that's going to want to proclaim the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and be able to give yourself to a higher power and know that your life is so minuscule in comparison that like we can't do it on our own.
Absolutely.
You have to have somebody that you can. It is the foundation of how I teach my child.
Yeah.
I want her, when a kid picks on her, she can resort back to her foundation of
The Old Testament.
of love,
Oh.
of love, and just be able to extend grace to them, because you don't know what that person's going through. Maybe she has an abusive parent. Maybe
Right.
she's bullying, being bullied. A bully.
yeah.
You just never know, man. You never know what these kids are enduring. extend grace, extend love, be compassionate towards others is so important.
And I think that's a beautiful thing where like, and that's kind of what me and Ronnie have started. This was the foundation of what we're doing with our platform, is being all inclusive, right? So I love the fact that we can bring a medical perspective with a spiritual component, because sometimes on it, it could be biased. It could be, just ignorance. Sometimes I feel like the medical world isn't very spiritual,
I felt like that for the longest back in the day.
Yeah.
I think more so now the two are starting to like coincide.
Yeah.
But back then it was just medicine.
Yeah.
And you had your churchgoers.
Man, look, some of the most powerful thing I can do with a patient sometimes when, is someone that's terminal is just pray with them, pray for them, just, use a moment of silence and prayer with them. In that, I'm not a miracle worker.
Right.
I'm not a miracle worker. So sometimes just the power of prayer and love and it, there's not enough morphine that I can pump into this person that will make them feel better.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it's so powerful for individuals that are struggling with addiction to find find the Lord, and
Man, that's powerful.
Absolutely. And so, as we kind of get to the wrapping up stage, and we're not quite there yet, so don't get upset because I know it's your least favorite part. What's next for you and your team? Because I know that you have a great team at Matt's Clinic. I know you have. I know you have a lot of stuff that you do, but I kind of want to highlight the addiction aspect of Matt's Clinic. So what's next for y'all? I know y'all are what, year and a half, 2 years?
But we're about a year and a half. Really dialed in within the last year.
Okay. And so what's next for Matt's Clinic?
I think it's, for me personally, it's about, grooming myself to really get into this market as an expert. Two is, a lot of patients or small towns are getting just decimated. So I think we need to bring addiction services to them. I think telehealth is the path where we're trying to move our business to where I can see them in the comfort of their home remotely. We've teamed up with Acu. Shout out to Lan.
Big Lan.
Lan.
You know Lan.
Hello, Lan.
Big Lan.
And Dan.
Yeah.
Oh, man. How
We
can
had
you
Dan
not-
on the show.
Yeah, dude, I was on the phone with Dan the other
So,
day. That's my guy.
We've perfected being able to send a testing kit, an oral testing kit, that we can visually supervise that patient taking that oral swab, putting it in the oral mucosa. It turns a certain color. They put in the reagent. It's all visualized.
Yeah.
So we can do drug testing at home, and I can see them remotely.
Game changer.
To where we go to you. So programs,
awesome.
That's game changer.
you get out of a 28-day program, we can see you remotely. You're up in a small town that don't have the resources, we can see you remotely.
And is that insurance based or cash pay?
It's mainly cash based.
Okay.
Medicaid reimbursement, man. It's I wish there was a little bit higher
It
reimbursement.
sucks. Oh, sorry. Did I sneeze? My bad.
Reimbursement for Medicaid's about $65.
If that, huh?
$65.
Yeah. Well, that that's beautiful, and I continue to encourage anyone, and Ronnie will do it as always. But how as people are listening and seeing, and they're like, man, this guy really cares. He really knows. How can people find Matt's Clinic?
It's easy. One, you could if you Google Suboxone Clinic in Baton Rouge, we're number one. We
Come
have
on now.
we have
Talk your
almost,
shit.
Yo, talk, Doc.
we have almost 200 5-star reviews.
Precious Lord.
You can Google Matt's
Yep.
Clinic.
Matt'sClinic.com.
And
Reach out to you guys.
I'm about to say you can call me.
And
because I don't know
also-
if y'all know this, but I am business development for Matt's Clinic. You know what I'm saying? The best in the
Also,
business.
if you watch this episode, in the middle of it, we're going to have an ad for Matt's Clinic.
Y'all see what we did
You
there?
see what we
We
did
had
there.
one of the owners of Matt's Clinic on the episode. That's sponsored by Matt's Clinic.
It's almost like we know what we're doing.
It's almost like we know what we're doing.
You know, we've been doing this for a little
It's
while.
almost like God has ordained this
You
city.
know, God got his hands on me.
Oh, many blessings like
Amen.
sand on the beach.
Well,
Shout
Doc,
out 180 Slim, man.
Doc, I appreciate your time more than you know. You know, it's been a pleasure to have a personal relationship with you. I know Ronnie always speaks the utmost respect for
Amen, right
for
there,
you
bro.
and your team. But unfortunately, we've come to Ronnie's least favorite time of the show. We have to wrap up.
One quick second before we wrap it up. You know I don't wrap up anyway. I got 6 kids.
I need to come back and do TRT, right?
That's what I was just gonna say. So you can, without like going all the way into it, you don't do just Matt's, right? Kind of let our listeners know the other services that you offer as well, real
Yeah.
quick.
So any time you're on any form of opiates, it actually decreases testosterone levels in males and females. So you know we try to bring you back to that 0 point, so we can do hormone replacement that really makes you feel really just human again. I mean, you're functioning so low under the curve that it people just feel phenomenal.
I'm up with the chickens now.
And by feeling well, you start building momentum in your life. So you start doing better things of your time, and you're motivated for recovery by feeling well.
Dion said it looked good.
I was just gonna say it, boy. What get out my head? When you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you play good.
Yes,
and when you
indeed.
play good, they pay good. No, so being I'm now unspoken but like self-proclaimed spokesman for TRT.
That's it, brother. Yeah.
It has helped me tremendously.
Absolutely.
Tremendously. So yes, y'all get with our guy, Dr. Daigle, over at Matt's Clinic. Find him
Absolutely.
again at Matt'sClinic.com. You can contact me because I know the guy. I got the plug. So in addiction, I had the plug, and in recovery, I got the plug. We got the plug.
Yes, Lord.
So if I just get up and walk out, it ain't got to be the end of the show, right? Like it don't have to happen,
I mean,
right?
we're gonna end the show with you or without you.
Again, man, we want to thank y'all so much.
Doc's
from the
busy.
bottom of our- Doc, he got to go right now. So
Yeah.
I'm finna try to wrap this up. Again, we want to thank y'all so much for the love and support. Don't forget, Hope and Hustle Fest, March 28, 2026. We hope to see all you beautiful people there.
It's free.
It's so
There's no reason not to
free.
show up. We got things for the kids.
It's
We
so
got things
free.
for you. We got
And you get to see us.
Yeah.
And Dr. Daigle.
Yeah.
He don't know it yet. He know now. He's going to be on the panel at the Hope and Hustle Fest. Come hear also more of this good education that he done learned that he is willing and eager to share with us. Continue to like our videos. Continue to comment. Continue to share them. The subscribers, they keep going up on all platforms. We love you. We see y'all. As always, if you or someone you know is struggling with alcohol or drug abuse, mental health struggles, please reach out to us. We got the plug. We are here, readily available and willing to help you guys. Again, reach out to us. Built by the Red Stick on the Facebook page. Ronnie LeDuff on the Facebook page. Michael Axelrod Oakley on the Facebook page. You can go to Matt'sClinic.com or you can go to Matt's Clinic on the Facebook page.
builtbytheredstick.com.
Yes, Lord. BuiltByTheRedStick.com. Guess what? You can even email us at BuiltByTheRedStick@gmail.com.
Absolutely.
Till then, though, we'll be back at the same time, at the same place, with the same producer. Built by the Red Stick. Built by adversity. Led by courage.
We love y'all.
Yes, they have. You believe in God? Yes, I do. But you hear